Get started. Good to see everybody today. I want to have a commercial before I get into the lesson. Talk about the lesson in just a minute. But I was reading Ezekiel 22 the other day. And I read this passage. I probably have read it scores and scores and scores of times, maybe 100 times. I don't know. But as I read it this time, something really the Lord just really made me think critically about something. And I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge and stand in the gap. I started thinking, why does he say stand? Why doesn't he say fight? You know, I'm a guy. If we're going to get into something, let's just fight. You know what I mean? That's just the guy. I know you may not understand that, but that's how I feel. I'm just ready to fight. Why didn't he say fight in the gap? He said stand. Why didn't he say run to the battle? Didn't say that. He said stand. I found that to be very interesting. And I realized that wherever I am, that's where the battle's at. That's it. If I'm here, or there, or in Sierra Leone, or at 2180 Bar Road, that's where the battle's at. And he tells me to stand, to be firm, to be sure of what I believe. And there have been times, and I won't get into it because this is just a commercial, but there have been times in life I've had to stand up and bow up a little bit. Us Southern folks know what bow up is. I don't know if you guys know that, but bow up a little bit. When I'm in a restaurant and a waiter's been waiting on us, do I or do I not give them a track? Stand. When I'm at the gas station and I'm pumping my gas and I carry on a conversation with a guy on the other side, stand. You see, the battles that I face, and the reason he tells us to stand, because here's where the battle's at. There. I know what to do. I know what's right to do. And he's telling me to stand. I'm saying this to say this. In life, when there are opportunities to stand for the Lord, do it. Wherever we are. We don't have a great number that come out for soul winning on Saturday mornings. I think we had, 8 yesterday? But that's not the only place he's talking about. He's talking about in our lives. And I'm imploring you, please stand for the Lord. Stand in the gap. Stand where others aren't willing to stand. And I've got a lot more I can say about that, but I won't. I probably will develop something on that later on. But I felt that was good. About 6 months ago, I talked about troubles in life, having problems in life. Today, I want to hone in on that just a little more and talk about where troubles come from and what we should do with them. Turn to Job chapter 14, if you would, please. How to deal with trouble. I guarantee this. Every one of you have them. Everybody here under the sound of my voice has troubles, has problems. And some of you have more than others, and I won't call out any of your names, Dwight. Job 14:1. Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. What is trouble? It's thoughts or events which cause me concern or distress in my life. I've had trouble so bad at times that that's all that I thought about. I could be sitting here listening to the preaching and I couldn't get my mind off of the trouble. And I know this for sure. I'm 66 years old, and for some of you, that may seem like ancient history. But my life, isn't that right, Maya? She was at our house last night, and she just flat out told me, Jeff, you're old. No, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. But I am. But you know what? My days have been few. They've been few. I remember a time when I was really fast and could run really fast, when I could jump really high. You may not believe this, but it's true. In my senior year of high school, I was on the baseball team, and I was the top 2 in the city in stolen bases in high school. In high school and in college, I could dunk a basketball. I can't even touch the net now. I've run 5 half marathons, starting when I was 45 years old. I could run, and I could jump, but I can't anymore. Those days are past. But in my mind, it seems like it was yesterday that I could do that. I was actually, there was a guy out here, a young fella, probably 16, 17, 18 years old, shooting basketball. Was it Saturday morning maybe? And I thought, I'm going to go out here and shoot with him. And I'm going to show this youngster how to shoot. I've lost it. I can't shoot anymore. I could shoot well at one time. Man that is born of woman is a few days. It won't be long till Ben is in my seat. It won't be long. You think it's a long time. It won't be long. And during those those years between being young and now, it seems like trouble has followed me my whole life. Every day it seems like there's something new. Life has been full, overwhelmingly full of trouble in life. I remember thinking this: will I ever have a day where things will go smooth and I'll have a week or a month of smooth sailing in life? I discovered the answer to that. No, I won't. It just doesn't happen. These are some of the problems that I've had. I've had problems with jobs. I've had problems, you won't believe this, in church. And I've had problems with friends. And I've had problems with families. And I've had problems at home, though not with Linda. I've never had a problem with Linda, just to be very clear about that. But I've discovered this: the biggest problem area of my life is me. I cause most of them. It's me. They just never, ever stop. And I've resigned myself to the fact that I will have one after another till the day I die. I hate to be so uplifting this morning, but it's the truth. This is reality of life. The Bible has a lot to say about the troubles that we face in life. They will come to you, every one of you here, in all kinds of shapes and sizes, in all places, and everybody will have them. That's why I know we all need this, because we all face exactly the same thing. Oh, it could be physical problems and troubles that you face. It could be mental problems, and by the looks of those in here, probably that's the biggie right there. I'm teasing. Spiritual problems and troubles that we face. Could be financial or relationships or many other types of problems. But trouble in life is inevitable. What are we doing about it? Do we just wait for it to come and then react? I think that is often the case. Many times they come when we're not ready for them. I wasn't ready. That was the worst time for that to happen in my life. Or we didn't expect that to happen in our life. They will come at your work and your home and your school and your family and your church. It's just going to happen. Have I emphasized the point enough? It is just going to happen. What you don't get what you know you should get when you're trying to get a loan for a house. You know what should happen. It makes sense, but it doesn't. Why these problems in life? I found I never have to look for problems. They search me out. I have some sort of beacon on me where trouble hovers. There he is. And they come after me. It is tiring. And it wears me out. So I think the question is, how do you, how do I, how do we deal with trouble? Look at Proverbs 27:12. This is actually one of my favorite verses in the Bible because I go to it so much in life. Proverbs 27:12, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Foreseeth the evil, trouble, problems, difficulties, hideth himself. What does that even mean? It means to minimize its impact, the trouble's impact on our life or how it affects us. I think first and foremost that you and I, as we think about life, we should be prudent and look at the potential problems that can possibly come our way and to hide ourselves from those problems. Let me ask this question. Who in here has had car problems? I have both hands up, both feet are up. I've had them. Who, do that again. I want to see. Every adult. What? That's happened to every adult? Let me ask you, what are we doing to prepare for that? What are we doing? We know that's a problem that's going to come at us. What are we doing to prepare for that? Well, Jeff, I can't. What can I do about that? I don't know when the car is going to mess up. Who has had a bill in their life due that you couldn't pay? Wow. You mean we have these problems that looks like happens to everyone, and we haven't spent 1 minute perceiving the evil that will come our way and do something about it? Not one? You tell me the stress that comes on us, are we not causing some of it? I believe that we are. Who has had an argument with a friend? If you're married, I know you have. No, Brother McCullough said no. I guess first and foremost, the first way to handle a problem is to have an answer to the problem before it comes to us. How do I do that, Jeff? How do I address a car problem that I may have? We just established everybody here has had that problem. And everybody here will probably have that problem again. So some things that we can do. Save money for repair. If we're not being proactive to address problems that we know will come, we're going to be overwhelmed with an avalanche of problems that come our way. Save money to have another car bought. So if that happens, I'm saying this, some of these problems lie directly with us, lies directly with me. What about owing debt? I'm going to be simple here and I'll be northern, very pointed. Don't make it the debt. You know you can't pay it. Most people do that. I'm trying to help us save some stress in our life by doing some things that make perfect sense if we have the character to do it. What about our relationships? How can I stop any argument that I'm going to have with my wife? Just obey her. Just do what she says, guys. Be prepared for disagreements. Me and Linda count Mary as a dear friend. I pray that we never have any disagreements, but I've already established on my end, I will never argue with Mary. I will submit my will to her before it ever happens. I've decided I don't loan people money intentionally for many reasons, but I've decided on the front end, if I do, and I'll give you an example of one here in just a minute. If I do loan some money, I will never, ever, 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 ever ask for it back. We'll never do that. Because I want to be a prudent man that foreseeth the evil and hideth himself from the problems that may come. There's somebody, I won't say who it is. I do this sparingly, so don't come up to me after this and ask for a loan. My wife and I gave this person $4,000. And I don't expect it back. I write it off the minute I hand it over as money that's gone. Because I don't ever want to have the problem of a bad relationship. And this person has called and told me, I'm going to do this. Whatever you do is fine. I am not pressing or asking for it. I'm trying to say there are things that we can do on the front end to stop some of the trouble and problems that come our way if we are willing to do that. I think the Bible gives very now that those are the things that we can foresee. We know those things are going to happen. But what about all the myriad of things that will happen that are unexpected and we couldn't possibly fathom that might happen to us? The Bible's really clear about what we should do when those problems come our way. Turn to Psalm chapter 91. Seek God in our trouble. Go to Him. I'm gonna say this. We have a phenomenal pastor, but the answer doesn't lie with the pastor. We have some wise men here in the church, but the answer doesn't reside with the wise men in the church. The answer and the direction of the problems and troubles that we have in life will, not maybe, will be found in God. Look at Psalm chapter 91 and verse number 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Let me read some more of that verse. Oh, I should have had that open. There it is. Verse number 3, surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. What is that? Trouble. That's problems that come our way. He shall deliver me from the snare of the fowler and from the, I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers. It's protection that He's talking about here. Did I read that word right? You were smiling at me like I misread it. Yeah. From the feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust His truth. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Go down to verse number 14. Because He hath set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. Verse 15, he shall call upon me, and I will answer him, and will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. And God is the only one that will help you and I in the midst of trouble. I want to help in trouble when people have trouble, but I have no answer to help in trouble. I want to help in that situation that you and I know, and I want to, but I have no ability to help, but He does. When we are going through problems of life, if we seek relief of those problems from anybody else, it is a roll of the dice. It may help, and it may not. But with the Lord, who allowed the trouble to happen in our life? Who was it? There may just be a reason that He allowed the trouble to come our way. Look over at Psalms 34 and verse number 4. Psalms 34 and verse number 4. If you've ever gone to the Lord in trouble, and you in sincerity were seeking His will, I guarantee you, you saw His hand in that trouble. Psalms 34, verse number 4. I sought the Lord. And what did the next words say? And He heard me and delivered me from all my fears. 1 Samuel chapter 30, you don't need to turn there, but verses 1 through 6 talks about the trouble that David is having. The Bible says he encouraged himself in the Lord. That is where the answer to the problems that we face are found. I can remember a time of great trouble. I've told this story before, but there's a part of it I haven't told, and I'm going to tell it today. I've told you this was about 1986 or 87, and the company, I was making good money, working for a company. I was their finance manager. The company closed the doors. No warning, just closed the doors. I had young kids. I had a wife that liked money. And they closed the doors. Wow, what am I going to do? A few weeks later, the company she worked for, it was a local mortgage company, and they were sold and eliminated a lot of jobs, 90% of the jobs. We had, this all happened in about a 2 or 3 week period. We had zero money coming in, none. What am I going to do? Now, we had been diligent in putting some money away. We had a little bit of money saved, not a whole lot. I mean, we were young still, trying to save for that. I started looking for some jobs, couldn't find anything. It was during the midst of a recession. Nothing was going on out there. And this is the part I've never told you guys. The Lord allowed us to find a deal of a house, not to live in, but to flip. The house was in Raleigh. At that time, the houses in that area were selling from $60,000 to $80,000. We bought a house there for $25,000. Spent $5,000 on it. We had $30,000 in it, and we sold it for $70,000. In about 6 weeks, we had $40,000 that the Lord provided. We saw Him guide and direct during a time of great trouble, and that money lasted until I found a job. I didn't do that. The pastor didn't do that. My friends didn't do that. God did that. That's how God sometimes will help us in the midst of troubles. He delivered me and Linda. It was absolutely His hand. Number 2, trust God in the troubles. I've lived long enough to see Him do that, things like that, over and over. And I know you have, over and over again. Psalms 56 says, what time I am afraid? Was I afraid during that time? You better believe it. How am I going to feel? I don't know. My 2 boys, when they were 5 and 6, could eat more than me, and I don't understand that. How am I going to feed these mouths? God says, and God will bring His will to pass. Psalms 37, go ahead and turn to Psalms 37:5. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. What is He bringing to pass? The troubles that I have in life. He will bring them, put them away, and bring them to pass. I thought about my life. When you're old, you do that a lot because you know you don't have too many more years going that way. Most of them are back that way. And I thought about all the problems that I had when I was 20, in my 20s. Do you know that not one of them is a problem that I have today? For some reason, they've all passed. Then I thought about my 30s and all the problems. Man, there were a lot of problems in my 30s. And I thought about all those, and I thought about individual problems. And today, none of those problems exist in my life. But man, I lost sleep over those problems. I worried about those problems. Then I had problems when I was in my 40s. And I couldn't believe the depth of those problems, how they were all consuming in my life. Today, they're all gone. Why did I worry about them? Because I didn't trust Him. I trusted me. And then in my 50s, just the last decade for me, there were problems there, new problems, even bigger problems in life. But they're gone. And in my 60s, I have problems today But I've learned it's not about me taking care of those problems. It's me doing what I should every day. And I've learned from my 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, he takes care of it. And I have no doubt, I believe it with all my heart. The problems I have today, he will remedy. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in my 70s, but I guarantee, based upon history, I will have some problems in my 70s that I never even thought about. That I don't know how in the world people can stand up under the problems and the pressures that come. But I'll have those in my 70s. And you know what? I'm just going to allow him to take care of it, because he has proved himself faithful in all areas of my life when difficulties have come to me. God will comfort us in problems like he has comforted me. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 7, if you would, please. I hope I don't sound like a crazy man. What I'm telling you are things that I have lived in life that have benefited me in life by trusting in him. 2 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number 5. For when we were come into Macedonia, talking about, this is Paul, our flesh had no rest. Boy, he had troubles. He had no rest. It was overwhelming. But we were troubled on every side. Without were fightings. Within were fears. Nevertheless, verse number 6, nevertheless, God, that comforteth those that are cast down, comforted us by the coming of Titus. God has a way of comforting like nobody else. And when we see that, and we see him work in us, it does something for my spirit, and it does something for my relationship with him. One of the ways that God will comfort you in your problems of life is that he will send and allow people that you know to comfort you. Let me give you an example. Linda and I, y'all know, I think most of you know our granddaughter, Hannah. I love our grandchildren. I love them more than our kids, to be honest with you. It's just the truth. I tell my kids that. It's just the truth. I love Hannah. Hannah has gone through, not because of her decisions, but has gone through difficulties in life because of her parents' decisions. And there was an event, and I won't describe and get into the event, but she would be embarrassed if I talked about it. But there was an event where it was potential where Linda and I wouldn't get to see her at all. If you know how much we love Hannah, Hannah's a big part of our life. We spend a lot of time picking her up, taking care of her, and we do it willingly. We love her. But I thought that our hearts were going to break in two. I'm going to tell you, if there was ever a time in life that I felt defeated, I must have looked like this. Because I felt defeated. I called a friend, Mike and Brooke, and they asked us to come over. And we spent about 5 hours praying, walking with them, talking about this. And we left after unbelievable communion with God and the people that he allowed to be in our life. We left with our heads up high and a renewed hope that God is in control. And it wasn't an hour later, we got a call that all that changed. I know I'm being somewhat vague and intentionally so. God changed a bad course of life. And he's doing that today. He comforts like nobody else can. I thank the Lord for him. 2 Corinthians 1, 3 through 4 says, "Blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies, and the God of all comfort, who comforteth us in all our tribulations, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble, by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God." I found this out about life. All the problems that I face in life, every one of them, God has used in my life for me to help somebody else. The comfort that he gave me in the midst of my tribulations has allowed me to help countless people with exactly the same situation of life. Today, I still counsel, and I don't know why. I get people calling me all the time. I don't even understand why. But I counsel many people on many issues. And I've discovered that I usually end up helping them with examples of things that I've gone through that match exactly what they are going through. I've talked about people that are going through a divorce. Now, I've never had a divorce, but I was a kid who was in the midst of a horrible divorce, and then another divorce from my dad, and then another divorce by my dad. I understand divorce and the problems, and there have been countless people that I've been able to talk to and let them know that what they're going through, God can take care of. God can address the problem and then use this in your life to be exactly what he desires that person to be. I've talked with many people about financial situations and the problems that they're handling. I grew up very poor in life, really, really poor in life. We had nothing. And then besides that, we had nothing. But God has taught me some things about money as I've grown up. And there have been many people that I've lived in their shoes where there's no money available. And he's allowed me to take that and help people in financial matters. I'm telling you, the troubles in my life had a purpose. Every one of them, Carl, had a purpose. I didn't see it when I was going through it, but it had a purpose for me. I wonder, are we listening to the problem that we're going through? We must learn to wait on God through the problems. Is this ever going to end? Wait on God. I won't have you turn there for time's sake because I don't have much time left. But Isaiah 40 says that he will renew our strength. That's the one that talks about wings of eagles. He will renew. He does. He renewed my strength in my 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. And I'm still waiting on the 60s. He is a very, very present help. Do we avail ourselves of the help that he is to us? What problem do you have today? You, individually. Are you going to him about that problem? Turn to Psalms 27. This will be the last thing I say. Psalms 27, verse 13 and 14. I think this is just 13. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. What does that mean when it says wait on him? Do you know in the midst of many problems, and I won't take time to tell about them, but in the midst of many problems, do you know what I decide? I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out what to do. And I do it. And I messed up. Wait until God gives direction and action for us to take in the midst of problems. He knows how hot to turn the flame up. He knows how much I need to get my attention in life. I'm saying wait on God for the answer to the problems that come our way. I lied to you. Turn to 1 Peter. I got to do this. 1 Peter chapter 5. Hope in God through the troubles and realize our troubles are temporary. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse number 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, that's where your troubles often come from, your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. Suffer a while? Yeah, I need that in life. We hate that, don't we, Mary? I don't want to suffer. I don't want to suffer. I was talking to, who was I talking to about this? I don't remember who it was. They were talking about their grandkids are little devils. They get into the house and they start screaming and yelling. And I said, you know what they need? They need to have that tail tanned is what needs to happen. And that will change that attitude. Suffer. A little while. For our good. We're no different. We think all we have to be is told what to do, and we're going to do it. No. We need to suffer a little while to really get it. To really get it. It gets my attention, and I think it probably gets yours too. Go to him. One last statement. Hannah, a little granddaughter, she was about 4 years old, and her mom was having some difficulties. And Hannah Hannah's, even at that age, is an unbelievable artist. It blew my mind. She drew a picture of her mom, and she made a little bubble where she's speaking. And at the bottom, Hannah wrote, go to God. Go to God. Cause he loves you. I'm telling us, when the troubles come, go to God. Go to God. Cause he loves you. We're dismissed.